Welcome to Education 504 and 511 Mentor Teacher Training. And we're going to dive into Module 3. So you can look back. Module 1 was our introduction to mentoring. Module 2 was mentoring for classroom management. That's our portfolio that we're working on for the first half of the semester. And we kicked it off with the Analyze module. And now we're moving on to module 3 of the portfolio, the second part of a 4-part portfolio. And we're going to be looking at the develop part. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this drop down. And we can see there are many resources here. We're actually going to start with the overview right after we take a look at the calendar. Your dates may be slightly different than these dates, so don't really worry so much about the dates, but we just want to see where we are. We're right here in Module 3. And notice you don't have anything to turn in for an entire month while you're working on the portfolio. Again, the dates might be different for you depending on when you see this video, but we give you the course allows for a full month. So you may need to deviate a little bit. You know, you might spend, as we mentioned before, the analyze portion may take only 3 days. The develop portion may take 10 days. So you've got some wiggle room in here, but we're just trying to keep you on track by giving you this suggested flow. So as we're looking into the overview, so we're going to click right here where it says overview, and I actually already had it pulled up somewhere for us. Let me see. It must be right here. The video that I'm doing right now is going to go right here. So the overview video, I will put the link to it right here. And then the beginning portion of this is exactly like what we went through with the analyze portion. It just kind of contextualizes the portfolio for you. Remember that we are working on classroom management. Classroom management is that essential skill for new or resident teachers, and even experienced teachers may want to refine some of their skills to lead to a classroom that is focused on learning. And so there are 3 fundamental elements of effective classroom management: building relationships with diverse student populations, establishing clear expectations and procedures, and consistently reinforcing expectations and procedures. So as part of the mentoring cycle, which is what our portfolio is focusing on, mentor teachers will diagnose and prioritize areas for growth, provide coaching and support, monitor progress, and adjust as needed. All right, so right now, and we already went over the lesson objectives, so we're really going to be focusing on this second bullet, mostly on the second bullet for the develop portion, which is provide coaching and support. All right. So as we've mentioned before, we are developing this module, a coaching plan to support our mentee in achieving the goal that we identified in the Analyze module last week. So these are the essential questions that we want to focus on. What coaching practices would be best when meeting with my mentee? How do I guide mentee growth? How do I give constructive feedback after the initial evaluation? What is the best timeline for support of my mentee, and what action plan can I develop to ensure the growth of my mentee? So here is your assignment. You want to develop a coaching plan to support your mentee in achieving the goal identified in the Analyze portion, which was for the previous module. In the plan, we need to describe the following. What coaching activities or resources will you engage in with your mentee? In addition to helping your mentee improve their classroom management skills, how will these coaching activities help build a strong relationship between you and your mentee? How will you monitor progress toward the identified classroom management goal? What are your projected timelines for working with your mentee on the goal? And the artifact to submit is the coaching plan. The rubric and all the supporting resources are provided in Module 3. Additionally, feel free to look ahead to Module 4 if you'd like to start looking at resources to support your coaching plan and goal. If you would like to see a sample, remember I've provided one here for you. I'm going to go ahead and open the sample now just to remind you what we have access to. Last week, we went over the analyze portion of the sample together. And I just want to show you the develop portion is that coaching plan. And it walks through what the plan is going to entail, the timelines, what the coaching cycle is going to look like, etc. Okay, so that's here for you to look at. You should start this second part of the 4-part portfolio this week. And remember, your dates may be slightly different, but after a month, you are going to have to turn in a rough draft. So make sure you don't delay in taking care of this material. All right. So let's take just a moment and go back. We want to go back to the module 3. In addition to what we've just gone over, I also have provided a very brief, I think it's about 12 minutes, and it's an overview for you of how to coach up using evidence and resources. So it is a narrated presentation that really just walks you through what pieces of evidence to use, how to use them, how to leverage, select and leverage resources, how to provide that ongoing support, etc. There's even a brief scenario in here for you as well. So make sure to check that out. Additionally, other resources are provided for you. So one of the things that's very important is starting out with a formal partnership with your mentor. We have several resources here for you. You do not have to use all of these. In fact, I'm telling you, don't use all of them. But find the one that works best for you, or maybe even a combination. But the point of this is you want to have a formal agreement for what this mentoring and coaching is going to look like between the mentor and the mentee. What's going to be required, what the expectations are, etc. So we've provided several of them here for you. Take a look at those, decide on one, and make sure that you begin with that piece of the conversation. The next piece of, if you haven't already, you may have already done this in the very first, in Analyze or the first module, you may have done this. But if you haven't already, make sure that you have a mentoring partnership in place. Next, I provide several videos. We talk about co-teaching in our lecture materials this week, but I wanted to provide some videos for you of each one. You may not use all of these right now while you're trying to receive your certification, but when you begin to actually host a student teacher resident, or perhaps you step into an administrative role or a curriculum consultant role or instructional coach role, these are very valuable. So I highly recommend that you check these out. There are little video clips that demonstrate what each one of these is. And of course, we have provided here for you again the prompt, which we kicked off in the overview, as well as the rubric, how you're going to be scored. So please make sure you check that out. The rubric is very, it's pretty specific. It tells you exactly what the portfolio is going to be looking for as far as being successful. And so just make sure that you have used that, as your checklist. All right, I think that takes care of this week. We will be moving on and ensuring that we're doing our very best to provide mentoring, coaching, and support for novice teachers and also experienced teachers who just want to refine their practice. I hope you have a wonderful week developing a coaching plan. Have a great day.